Test, test. Test 1, 2, 3.
Welcome everyone to this exciting live stream to celebrate Genesis going live. My name is Sheila and I'm part of the OpenxAI team. I would like to introduce our founder Ashton to present all about Genesis.
Thank you, everyone. All right, so just want to double check the live stream. I don't see the live stream yet. Awesome. All right. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ashton. So it's very excited to present to you today and also celebrate our very, very exciting Genesis. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. So it's going to construct off a few things today. So mainly we'll be speaking about the Genesis achievements that we did so far, how we worked. In the last couple of weeks, we've been working extremely hard. So I want to thank my engineering team, operation team, and also the ambassadors. So today we wanted to present to the community not just the Genesis itself, but also why we started OpenxAI and what are the key pillars and the vision and the mission and what we have achieved and where we're heading. So starting with basics. So if you think about, if you ask what is the most powerful technology that humanity has ever created? If you ask that question, a lot of people will say different things. But for me, I think it's AI, because AI is one of not only the fastest growing industry, but also it has a profound impact on society. In terms of the growth, it has a significant growth in the last 2 to 3 years, and I think it's just we're just starting our industry. A lot of people say we are going through a bubble, but I think it's going through a really healthy a cycle. Now, the big question for everybody: so who owns AI? So who gets to decide, what kind of AI should be so good for society? Who's governing the AI? So the AI governance has been a really, really big topic lately. Governments try to control, corporations try to control. I mean, we don't have a clear answer. But one thing is clear for sure: a few corporations is dominating the whole industry. In fact, 92% is controlled by 3 corporations. And all these 3 corporations and others are in a race to prove who's bigger and better. Now, this is just the AI space, right? So let's take a step back and think about the same companies and what kind of a monopolies that they have. So not only AI, they also happen to be one of the largest, or I would say the largest, the data custodian. So which means they have a large number of data. They collect data in a daily and an hourly and minutes and second basis. They know what does weather look like. They know what we normally eat. They listen to our conversations possibly. They know about the history, they know about physics, they know about space. They have a largest knowledge concentrated on the same very same companies. And if you think about their infrastructure, like data centers, and the very same companies also happen to have large social media platforms. They own large social media platforms. Some companies, they also have hardware, like Google. Google have their own Android devices. So not only they can listen, but also they can send information and read information. So to me, if you look at these three large corporations, they've got AI, let's call it human 2.0. It's a godlike power. And then they've got the largest data centers. To me, more like a brain, because the more data centers they have, they can scale the brain, because data centers can process AI training, can store a large number of data sets, and the more data centers you can add into the model, the bigger and efficient the AI model gets. So there's no limit for scaling. So the more money and resources they put, they can increase the brain, which kind of a way to increase their capabilities. They also happen to have the largest data custody, and also they have the social media devices. So when I say listen, read, and write, so imagine if these corporations want to share a specific agenda to you, political agenda, or some sort of a censored content to you, they have the power to do that. So whatever you listen, whatever you think, are kind of manipulated by these large corporations, right? Now, if you look at the AI space specifically, let's talk about the foundational models, like things like ChatGPT. Now, these models and the largest AI research is done by these same companies. And other than the language models, so let's take a look at the largest AI ecosystem. So I'm sure some of you heard there's a large ecosystem called Hugging Face. Now, Hugging Face also happened to be centralized and is privately owned. So they host about 1.4 million AI models, 326,000 data sets, and they've got 1.2 million users. Now, I mean, I don't know about you, but this looks like very, very centralized. Don't get me wrong, Hugging Face is a great platform for developers to find open source AI models. And then there's a huge community. There's a huge value proposition by Hugging Face. However, if you dug deeper, if you go to their specific terms and conditions, that's where you need to really consider and think. So I just summarized their terms, not just Hugging Face, and generally like most of the AI services and AI models and AI, let's say access to the AI, summarized in 3 dot points. First, you need their permission to use, which means whenever you want to access, let's say ChatGPT or any other services, you need to register. And you have to agree with their terms, and they have the right to terminate any time. So in other words, you need the permission to use their services. And if you happen to be in a non-privileged countries, let's say Iran or Middle East, some parts of Africa, certainly like North Korea, you cannot access those services. Try to sign up some of the AI services and try to download some AI services from different countries. So in other words, it's only available for privileged part of the world. And then data privacy, if you read their data privacy policies, they said, just trust us. We are the good guys. But is that really the case? I mean, we've seen many data privacy related issues with these corporations. So obviously, they try to keep everything look good. And then they say, don't be evil. Most of the decisions made by, few individuals behind closed doors. Now, if you look at this kind of a, let's say, a setup or a structure, or let's say behavior, this is not new. If you look at ancient times, like few or one person or small group of people control the world. They decided what is good for society. They made lots of important decisions close behind, close behind all the closed doors, and then they did things without even checking with the people. So the democracy itself, we are living in a democratic society, but we don't have rights what OpenAI going to do in the next 2 to 3 years. Like, we don't know what they're going to be doing. It's everything closed behind their doors, and it's hidden, right? So this is the structure, ancient times, that we don't want. We don't want pharaohs and kings and dictators dictating what is good for society and the world. Unfortunately, we are living in the same kind of structure. Of course, living conditions and life expectancy and poverty, those things have improved. We are living in I would say, the most abundant time in history. However, the structure exists. So we have to think about that. To me, the structure, it's kind of hidden beneath us. People are busy, probably distracted with whatever things going on in society, whether you're paying your bills or on social media. But you have to be a little bit careful about these things, because the concentration power, it's getting bigger and highly concentrated, and the deviation between people and these corporations getting bigger and larger. So if you ask, or if you think about what are the significant threats for humanity, I'm talking about existence. So, people will say nuclear war, maybe between different countries like US or China, US and maybe Russia, asteroid or large scale, another pandemic. But I think we need to understand, like, there are dangers that beyond like a physical dangers. I think this combination of giving so much power to corporations, like few corporations, we talk about 2 to 3 corporations in the world, to manage the world data, and also they own the world infrastructure, IT infrastructure. They also happen to be in the AI race. So I think if these combinations is a perfect for a disaster, I think the AI race is the kerosene, or that's the gasoline for the fire. Because during competition, like, to prove Google is better, let's say Microsoft is better, OpenAI is better, it's all about competition, right? So ultimately, this competition, it fall under a small group of people living in Silicon Valley or maybe India, to come up with great solutions. Like, all these corporations going through a massive amount of pressure to come up with better, faster models, because they need to keep up with their brand. Ultimately, it's very important have their position. If they're losing the position, what that means, they can lose their shareholders, let's say shareholders' appetite, and they can give a wrong message to or different message to Wall Street, and their stock price going to collapse, which means the whole ecosystem going to collapse. So therefore, coming up with the best AI model, it's not like to show who's better, it's about survival for them. So what that means, that pressure, I think is a great disaster, because people cut corners, they can be blindsided. We're talking about small group of people, right? So ultimately, small group of people have that pressure, not the management or anyone else. So when you have that level of, I would say, like the concentrated pressure, people make mistakes, right? So people make mistakes. So I think that's what we have to think about. We're basically hoping for the best and assuming that big corporations will not be evil, and governments might have some plans. If there are, like, let's say if there's a powerful AI got out from these large corporations data centers. Imagine if really intelligent entity like a virus started spreading across internet. You got to think about it, right? So if these large language models are programming itself and maybe progressing into different foundational models, and then is gaining some level of consciousness and try to like create some sort of agenda that we have no idea. If these AI entities become entities become extremely powerful, let's say 10 times, 100 times, maybe 100,000, or if not million times powerful than a human. So where's the backup, right? It's basically the ants versus humans. And in this particular case, we are the ants. So there's no chance for us to be able to come up with a backup plan or even to compete or try to like find a way to shut it down, because the AI probably think the common possible combination that any human can come up with, right? So it's very important that we have to think about this. So think about, like, let's think about the political and how powerful the AI, right? So if you think about the not just the concentration across large organizations, but it's actually political. So I'll show you why is it political, because to me, like, AI kind of like a modern version of Ark of Covenant, because ancient time, if you have the Ark of the Covenant, you signal other nations, other countries, other kingdoms that you have the power, you possess the power, right? I think that's why AI keep in secret. Most of AI research kept in secret. It's managed by a few people. And when I say it's political, I don't know, some of you have experienced or noticed in 24th of January this year, when Chinese AI model released the open source version of OpenAI ChatGPT, the entire US stock market crashed. So why that happens? Because all of a sudden now everybody started wondering why OpenAI spends so much money and resources, and where's the valuation of these AI hyped companies. And unlike other typical large language models, DeepSeek as a small team is a startup or a small private company. They didn't have a lot of resources. They didn't have access to a large, let's say, infrastructure like NVIDIA or the latest NVIDIA hardware. So instead of focusing on hardware acceleration, they focus on optimizing the software. And more importantly, they made it open source, which means it's no longer private and proprietary and closed source, it become open. So that's shocked the world. And all of a sudden now, it's no longer, innovation or product or breakthroughs in the AI space. Now is basically war between US and China. That's why suddenly DeepSeek started banning everywhere. Like in particular, US, Australia, South Korea, Italy. Now, this most advanced, or I would say more efficient AI model that's developed by China now is banned in the West. The West is saying, listen, this is a security concern, there are privacy concerns, they're collecting data, therefore we should ban. So what about Western AI solutions? They've been collecting data, I would say, for many, many years, and Western internet services been collecting data since the beginning of internet, right? So the agenda of like saying, hey, this is national security, we should avoid that, I think is BS. I think it's is a political. They want to maintain the power, right? So going back to the Ark of the Covenant example. So we have to think about, like, as individuals and citizens and maybe builders, innovators, and maybe potentially someone with a common sense. If the AI is the most powerful technology, if that's true, then we're giving only few corporations and few governments to control, and they get to decide what is good, right? So that's not good, in my opinion. That's bad for business, and fundamentally, it's basically a threat for democracy. And if you think about moving away from, let's say, current society, like being a type 1, type 0 civilization, imagine if we expand to Mars or beyond, become type 1 civilization, and then all of a sudden these large corporations control, not in a planetary scale, data, AI, and all the infrastructure. They will be controlling the entire solar system scale, right? So we will have Google, Microsoft in quadrillion market cap, right, controlling the solar system. That's where it's heading. So for me, from a democratic point of view, a small group of people don't get to decide what is good for society, and that is true. So that's why, we cannot fight those large corporations, right? But at least being aware and do something opposite to the centralization. And if you can educate, and also especially builders and innovators, we should do something about it, because obviously one voice may not be enough, but if you build like great technologies and breakthroughs and offer that with a greater user experience to the users, I think things will have some sort of a positive momentum, because right now is all heavily concentrated across few corporations, which is really, really bad. So in my opinion, AI should be open and available to anyone, like the internet, right? Because if you really think about how internet became public, internet used to be a secret project, and started and conducted by military, US military specifically, and then made it available to everybody. And I'm sure a lot of people will be wondering the same thing, because if AI is kind of sitting on top of like internet, top of a layer, to me AI kind of like internet in steroids. Everybody's just worrying about it, right? So what if the AI power goes into a wrong hand? Maybe terrorists use AI to maybe coordinate attacks. Maybe they will just use to maybe hack a government system. Maybe they will influence someone, something over like political or sensitive matters, right? So who knows? But I think these questions probably were the same back in 80s and 70s, when they thought, let's make internet public. Like, so these were the same conversations, and look at what happened today. So internet became public, so everyone used it. Early days, people manipulated, right? So all the early adopters started using it, and also criminals use internet as a protocol to coordinate a lot of things. However, now internet is adopted pretty much most of the world, and I think most of the people are benefiting. Imagine if you kept internet as a private thing, and internet don't exist. So we don't have all these services that we use. Forget about smartphones, forget about YouTube. We've got nothing there. So I think we are in a similar kind of a phase after 30, 40 years. We are going through another phase, I would say, and we have the same concerns and same questions. And I think making AI open and allow people to peer review, like the code, and being able to check, and being able to have the power distributed across a vast number of people, I think that's much better than letting few corporations control and hoping for the best. That's my opinion, right? So I could be wrong on this, but I think we as a society, we should think about what kind of a better designs. There's no perfect designs, right? What kind of improved or better designs that we can push the society for. Now, let's talk about Web3. And let's talk about one of our greatest success story, Bitcoin network. And also Bitcoin network happened to be the most powerful network. Now, if you look at Bitcoin as a decentralized public infrastructure, there's no company behind Bitcoin, right? So there's no headquarters. Is available to anyone as long as you have an internet connection and a computer or a device, you can access the network. The network is permissionless. So that's the keyword. Permissionless means the Bitcoin network does not require permission to access the network. Obviously, you need to have a wallet and etc. But the Bitcoin network cannot put like terms and conditions, right? Bitcoin network's not asking you to sign a specific terms and conditions, and if Bitcoin network doesn't like what you do, it's going to kick you out. There's no such thing. So it's a living and breathing digital organism that it basically support a specific function, and it does it so well, and you don't need a government corporation to control or govern. It just basically evolved by itself, and there's a large number of communities, and it's a great use case. I think for the first time in history, we can demonstrate, we can facilitate some sort of a ecosystem. We can maintain an ecosystem without a middleman. This is like the first use case since, I would say, the beginning of humanity. So we're talking about hundreds of thousands of years for the first time. So this is a big deal, in my opinion, right? So yes, a lot of people talk about Bitcoin price going up and down, but from a protocol level, from a fundamental, the network design and architecture is very interesting. And it doesn't matter if you're in North Korea, if you're in Mars, it doesn't matter. The network will accept you. So the governments cannot shut down, the government cannot censor. Very, very important. So let's take a look at the AI space. So AI space, OpenAI as a mega corporation. If you look at their journey, mega corporations spend millions, if not billions of dollars, years of R&D, they created a private AI. And DeepSeek as a startup, private again, they spend less money. They created an open. However, they both are private. They're all private, even though DeepSeek's open source. So as an experiment, this is what we started doing. We thought, okay, so what if we created a DAO and provide a decentralized infrastructure and having some sort of a governance similar like a Bitcoin network, and create a permissionless AI protocol. So just to give you guys a bit of a context, so I got into Web3 2015. I used to run Ethereum meetups here in Sydney, Australia. And after that, I had the privilege to work with L1 protocol or L1 chain called Phantom. Now they call it Sonic. So that's how I got into Web3 space. I joined Phantom in 2017, and I'm working full time in Web3 and building protocols and solutions. And after left Phantom in 2019, I started looking at addressing infrastructure. So I started a project called OpenMesh, which is a decentralized cloud network. So OpenxAI, it's basically initiative or a kind of a solution that we build as part of OpenMesh roadmap. So to me, OpenxAI it's a great way to demonstrate the power of decentralization and also tell people importance of tokenizations and smart contracts. So OpenxAI has a very, very unique characteristics. So we aggregate the most powerful AI models. It doesn't matter if it's a Chinese AI model, German AI model, as long as it's open source, we aggregate that. And then second, instead of deploying into centralized cloud, which we don't know what's happening, we allow people to deploy that into decentralized cloud. And then let user manage the data, let user manage and own the infrastructure. And then from a community governance point of view, have some sort of a decentralized network. We have decentralized governance, so it's not one single team or corporation controlling it. So OpenxAI, we don't have a CEO. There's no company behind it. There's no foundation. There's such a structure. I've seen a lot of AI projects in Web3. They're a private company, right? So they're a private company. They've got CEOs. They decide what is going to be the next product or next proposal. So there's a missing part of the community governance and having some sort of a token incentives to build into the protocol, so people are working with the ecosystem and supporting and maintaining the ecosystem the same way like how Bitcoin networks operate, right? So if you keep a copy of the Bitcoin network and then making sure you push that the cryptographically guaranteed the proof into the Bitcoin blockchain, and then let's call it mining, you'll be rewarded by the network in a Bitcoin, right? So I'm not saying we have that kind of a function, because Bitcoin is proof of work. All right. So the other part, what I've seen, the fourth vertical I've seen in real world, there's a great ecosystem or a non-profit organization started by Peter Diamandis called XPRIZE. Now, why I like XPRIZE as an initiative, because you gather the most competitive people. So XPRIZE is kind of it's a competition, global competition to solve like large and difficult problems in the world, whether building a rocket or come up with some sort of a cure for cancer. They have a moonshot thinking, right? They push the limit. And what they do, they ask investors or people to put up some money and attract a lot of people to compete and have a very tight deadlines to come up with like really solve really difficult problems. So the reason why SpaceX able to take people up to the space station, thanks to one of the initiative from XPRIZE. So there's a great things can do when you think about competitiveness and also attracting talented, passionate people to solve problems. If you want another example is a protein folding example, where a small group of scientists, they couldn't like solve the protein folding issues is a cancer research work. And what they did, they basically distribute that challenge to college students and people, and they made it as a game to figure out the problem solving, and they made significant progress in a short amount of period. You know, if they did it by themselves, they probably would never achieve that kind of innovation and collaboration. So these things are really important. So OpenxAI, in short, is an open permissionless AI ecosystem. It's not just the technology, but also is an ecosystem. So you control your AI, and you manage your AI. You manage your data. There's no middleman. So we are not VC-backed company, or we don't have any corporation. The entire project is bootstrapped. A lot of the technologies that we developed in the last 4 years, R&D for OpenMesh, we kind of donated to OpenxAI, because when we as OpenMesh network, when we looking to introduce that into the ecosystem, we found out in month of January, this DeepSeek, it's been started banning, and then a lot of cloud providers like Google, AWS, and Microsoft started backing off, because US and Australia, they are not supporting or not favoring DeepSeek models. And all of a sudden, people are started looking for alternative. So decentralized networks like OpenMesh is a great use case. So for us is an aha moment. So the way I said to my team, like, consider OpenMesh like a boring a production company who produce, let's say, masks, and we do commercial grade masks, and then all of a sudden COVID hit and everybody's looking for masks. And that was the reason we started. So like seeing the AI space being heavily centralized, and we learn in hard way and also trial and error the power of smart contracts and distributed networks. We thought like integrating some of the components that we built and also things that we've learned to build something cool. All right, so we do have product demos and everything. It's not just slides. We developed a functional product. So our colleagues will give you demos. So in terms of the name, we came up with the name and also like bit funny, because OpenxAI, if you remove X in between open and AI, that's become OpenAI. And if you remove open, it's become xAI, which is Elon Musk's AI. So the core value proposition of OpenxAI, it's decentralized network, not owned by corporations. And more importantly, you're the privacy aspect. So you control your data, you control your infrastructure. And then permissionless, that's the keyword. There's no KYC, right? So as long as the distributed network, like the core infrastructure, has enough nodes in the network. So if these nodes are available in different regions, different parts of the world, so anyone can access the AI services and utilize the AI network. So that's very, very interesting. So at a high level, there are 4 pillars. So like I mentioned, the decentralized infrastructure is a really, really key part of this. And having OpenAI models hosted on the decentralized infrastructure, so governments or other corporations cannot shut it down. So if you break down these 4 pillars into different verticals, so on the left-hand side, left-hand top, you'll see unrestricted access to AI models. So when US and Australia banning and when AWS and Google saying we are not supporting Chinese AI models, OpenxAI is saying we're welcoming everybody. We don't even know or care about where these AI models come from. As long as it's open source, we aggregate them and we host it in a decentralized infrastructure, and we give that access to people. And then in order to train your AI models and deploy AI services, instead of deploying into AWS, consider deploying into decentralized infrastructure. Decentralized infrastructure like OpenMesh, decentralized cloud networks like Aether, maybe Render, things like Akash network, right? This is where the decentralized infrastructure comes in. And then community owned and community governed, that's very important. So funding, instead of funding from a VC, fund from the community. There are specific incentive models and governance models that we looked at, because it's important to have like a good governance model. I think we did a good enough job, and obviously things will evolve over time. But for me, the key important part is no single authority, right? At the moment, of course, OpenxAI have access to certain privileges and controls. Over time, what we're going to be doing, we're going to distribute the ownership to the community, right? So there are really good work. We have upcoming like the multi-sig, distributed multi-sig, and federated multi-sig distribution, etc. And then the other thing, it's called milestone crowdsource R&D. So what that means, each milestone that we have in the protocol. So if you look at a lot of decentralized projects or Web3 projects, when you ask, okay, where's your roadmap? Usually that roadmap on a website, right? So there's those roadmaps on a website. But in our case, let me show you. If you go to OpenxAI here, if you go to Genesis, and if you look at projects, so projects are the milestones. All these milestones are kind of recorded on chain. So the way it works, when we ask for funding, for example, when we ask support from the community. So in this particular case, let's say we are raising $500,000 in stable coins and Ethereum. when people are sending funds, all they're doing is they're basically like a Kickstarter campaign. They're filling these specific projects. They're supporting these projects. If these projects have achieved based on their deadline, then it becomes a success, which means the backer who backs these types of projects able to claim the tokens. So we have a base tokens, the base incentive tokens, and then you have the flash reward, which is to incentivize the backer, saying that you have successfully supported a project, that project or the milestone has achieved. Similar way, I would say a company like Tesla incentivize some senior members in Tesla corporations to achieve specific milestones, and if they achieve the milestones, they have a stock option. They could either issue stock options, and then you achieve these milestones. So you have a really direct incentive attached to the milestones. Because what I've seen a lot of projects in decentralized and Web3 space, oh no, of course, even in Web2 world, a lot of people raise money, but they don't achieve. There's accountability itself is not built into the design. And we try to avoid that, seeing a lot of mistakes and a lot of challenges in the space. So if you don't achieve these milestones, the funds will be refunded back to the backer, right? Plus with some thank you tokens, OpenxAI tokens. But if the milestone is achieved, then the backer gets some, backer can claim the tokens. That's the only time backer can claim. Otherwise, backer cannot receive the tokens. So unlike typical ICOs, IDOs, and node sales, or whatsoever, let's call it like the fundraising events in Web3 space, usually it's a hyped up event. You get a lot of people coming in. They have private sales, they've got early investors and etc., and then distribute all of that early. But in our case, we don't have that. So there's no private sale, there's no pre-sale, there's no such a thing. 80% of our tokens, 90%, 88% of tokens will be allocated for the protocol governance and for the community, and 12% will be used for the fundraise. That 12% will be basically distributed across these specific milestones. So backers, or if you want to call it investors who back in these projects, these are communities, right? So community members. So we are supporting between $50 to $1,000 per wallet. I mean, early days here, we have other options, but the idea here is, people are contributing. A large number of contributions should come into this. And unlike typical ICOs where you send the money or send the funds and forget about it, so the backers have a really strong incentive to make sure working with the community and making sure they participate in the governance, participate in voting to ensure the milestone is achieved. Otherwise, they won't be able to claim the tokens, right? So the whole idea of this particular fundraise model, we call it milestone-based fair launch. So it's a very unique model that we designed. So the whole smart contract is deployed, everything is ready. The fundraise will happen very, very soon. So, and then the other important part, the fourth vertical, is the use of smart contracts and tokenization to cut the middleman. So this is very, very important. And I think, a lot of people have no idea about the value of like using a smart contract to replace a bank account or a corporate entity. So now let me explain what this means. So you remember I told you about the Hugging Face. So Hugging Face is the largest AI ecosystem, right? So let's go to Hugging Face and take a look at it. So in Hugging Face, we've got lots of AI models, data sets, and etc. So if I'm a user, let's say a founder, developer, etc., I choose a specific AI model. Let's say I train my AI model, which takes a lot of resources, right? So I train my AI model to be, let's say, I want to train my AI model to learn about crypto, for example. So it's a language model. It learns about crypto better compared to like a traditional language model. So this is specialized crypto. So maybe you can ingest like order books or maybe on-chain data. So now you've got a Web3 kind of a chatbot, and you can just interact with it. So imagine you built that, but how would you monetize it? Because that's the problem. When I speak to a lot of developers and like founders in this Hugging Face ecosystem, Hugging Face kind of a directory for all these AI models, is a place for people to interact and connect and empower. However, if I build something that I want to monetize, I want to rent my AI model, I want to sell my AI model, or I want to partially sell my my AI data sets. There's no capability here, right? Hugging Face will not facilitate peer-to-peer interactions. So that's very interesting. So that's a huge pain point for a lot of developers. Because if I'm a developer, if I build something and I want to be able to, offer that value to someone, there's no way to monetize it. There's no way for me to work on this ecosystem. It's a huge problem. So this is where, for us, it's like aha moments. Like we're familiar with the tokenizations, we're familiar with smart contracts, we're familiar with things that we built in the Web3 space. When you look at these problems, it's very, very interesting. So that's why I also call OpenxAI the platform. It's kind of like a decentralized version of, or open version of Hugging Face. So John will do a demo specifically, but I'll show you the platform. So very high level platform. So when you go to openxai.org, click on the core platform, you have this beautiful UX or UI design, UI platform with a great UX. It's completely Web3 native, which means there's no signups, there's no KYC. You use your Web3 technology and your Web3 experience to build and manage and your AI infrastructure, AI data, and AI services. So starting with the App Store. So this is the App Store. So we aggregate the most popular AI models in the world, like DeepSeek is here. And then all these AI models will be deployed on decentralized infrastructure, right? So right now, these decentralized nodes or infrastructure is powered by OpenMesh. So when you go to Genesis page, dashboard right here, you can see infrastructure provided by OpenMesh. Obviously, we encourage other decentralized provider to become a decentralized infrastructure provider to become a provider here. Now, there are so many value proposition compared to, like, let's say AWS and other providers. So these are three key values. First, starting with energy and the cost. So the red line, it showcases the cost compared to other, right? Is a low energy and low costs with OpenxAI. And then censorship is very important. So censorship is absolutely close to zero compared to other providers. And the ownership and the data control and privacy, since you're deploying your infrastructure, since you're managing your infrastructure attached to your Web3 wallet, your virtual machine is wrapped in a smart contract. So the only person who can access to your virtual machine, only person who can access to your AI services is you. The only way for a government or someone to get into your virtual machine, get into your AI model, to learn or to stop your AI services is to break Ethereum security, because we use Ethereum security to provide that security for you. So going back to the platform. So this is the platform. I consider this platform, obviously we don't have 1.4 million, models. We're starting with 46. I think it's useful useful language models. In the future, we can expand into image modeling, the sound, and etc. Right? But the cool thing is these models are open source. Anyone can have access to. And then here is the platform. You can choose the version, and you can select the infrastructure. Now, the first option is pick your version of your AI model. Second is picking your infrastructure. So right now, OpenMesh provide the infrastructure, but we encourage other decentralized cloud providers to be listed here. And a user can compare what is a value proposition deploying into decentralized infrastructure versus other providers in terms of price-wise, in terms of the privacy, KYC, and etc. Since OpenMesh is a decentralized cloud network, we also aggregate and work with a large number of data centers. So as a user, they can also compare the price. So when you click on the more options, what it does is scan around the world for the specifications that's suitable to run your DeepSeek model. It showcases like available data centers, or these are virtual machines, by the way, and you can choose from the different regions. You'll be able to deploy that in the future. Right now, you only can compare the prices. So that's really important, right? So the user have ultimately the control of not only the infrastructure, but also they can deploy into a place that they want. And since the AI model and your infrastructure control with your wallet, there's no KYC, the only person is control the whole thing is you. It's very important. So the first one is choosing your AI model. Second is choosing your infrastructure. So third is, this is where I'm really excited about this part here. So let me give you an example why this is very important. So I'm going to jump back into my slides. So let's take an example of a journey of an AI founder or AI developer or maybe AI startup. So let's say I have an idea. I'm based out of Australia, for example, and I want to build an AI services for education, for example. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to build a language model that aggregates all the university courses, all the university data, start, let's say, scrapping data from all the university societies. It's basically a very optimized, maybe customized language model for Australian universities. So what is my business model? I want to offer this to students. And so I have a free tier. Free tier is you can ask 100 questions. As soon as you pass 100 questions, the end user or my customer or my students have to pay $5 a month. Now let's think about like my journey. So as a founder or a developer, I want to go from 0 to 1. Now, first thing I will need to do, I need to build the AI model, which means I need to be technical enough to do that. And I need to set up some form of a SaaS service on top of the AI model, because you need to know who consuming what. You need to know user A consumed 50 questions, and then user B already, in a paying customer. So you need some sort of a kind of a SaaS on top of your AI model. And then in order for you to start charging from customers, you need to have a credit card payment system, because otherwise you cannot charge from the customer. In order to, collect payments and deposit somewhere, you need to have a bank account. In order for you to have a bank account, you got to have a company. In order for you to have a company, you need to talk to the lawyers, or maybe you can set it up by yourself. So when I speak to Australian-based startup incubators and accelerators, I ask them like, okay, so if there is a small team come to you, what is their journey and how long will it take? What's the cost look like? So what I've gathered, it cost like 30,000 Australian dollars to set up bank accounts, having credit card system integrated, and then pay for people and lawyers and all of that stuff. And it will take maybe 60 days to build your service. So let's say I've done all of that. I did that investment, 30,000. And let's say I have my first paying customer. When I have my first paying customer, the middleman, banks, credit card payment systems, and SaaS provider, whoever it is, they will take a cut from it. So the middleman always going to come and take what you're making. And also these banks, lawyers, credit card payment system providers, the company regulations that regulate your company will tell you what you should do and you shouldn't do, which means you have to obey what they say. You might have a disruptive AI model, but too bad. You have to fit with their box in order for you to exist and survive. If you violate any of their terms, they will shut down your bank. They will kick you out from a credit card payment system. Now, this is in Australia, but imagine if you're in like Sri Lanka, where I was born, or if you are in Kenya or Nigeria or Iran. So imagine you signing up with MasterCard or Visa, saying that you just started a startup in Sri Lanka or Iran, and you want to sign up with this credit card payment system. Obviously, if you go to their sign up page, some countries don't even exist. So in other words, if I were to build an AI service or AI agent or AI company, I have to be privileged to be in privileged countries, mostly in Western countries, to go from 0 to 1. So if I'm part of another region, I will never ever able to go from 0 to 1. So that's really sad, right? So because I see a lot of innovation, I have some friends that wanted to be in the AI space, but they can't. It's not that they don't want to, but they cannot. Because they could build something local, regional, but they cannot go to global. There's no distribution for them to go global because of these middlemen controlling and dictating who is in and who's not, which is not good design. That's kill innovation, and I would say it kills the spirit of innovation. So the goal here is to leverage smart contracts, tokenizations, and then use the distributed network design to cut the entire middleman, remove everything. So we hope today is very, very painful journey. Tomorrow it'll be better because you're instead of spending all your money on all the middleman, you pay for a smart contract, right? So what does that mean? So let's say you want to sell your, let's say, AI agent or AI model peer-to-peer. You don't know who's the person on the other side. You can wrap in an ERC 721. It's an NFT. You can list your NFT on OpenxAI. In the coming days, we will have a plugin plugged in here. So you can deploy directly your AI model. You can train it and push directly into OpenxAI. And if you have a trained data sets that you want to rent or sell, you can fractionalize it. You can actually you can sell it. And the selling part is global, right? So you don't have to go through a middleman. There's so much processes involved. If it's an NFT, you just transfer NFT peer-to-peer. So if someone built an AI model wrapped in an ERC standard like ERC 721, and I like the model, I go to OpenxAI, or I don't have to go OpenxAI. I just basically buy from the person, right? I pay the person directly in Ethereum, stable coins, whatever it is, I just buy it. So, and then this particular wrapper, this is a wrapper allow you to rent and collect royalties. So this is basically the SaaS, right? So imagine your AI agent or service or AI model need to be given to people, and then people need to be able to subscribe for those services, and you need to keep up with who's using what without using gas fee, without paying for gas fees. It's basically a Web3 version of the SaaS solution, right? So these solutions, when you select these modules, what you're doing is you basically you take your AI model, deploy into decentralized infrastructure, and wrap in a specific Web3 technologies to cut the middleman and improve the efficiency, and also building a great user experience for end users. Of course, if you're in the Web2 world, it can be a little bit difficult. We understand that, but you are able to go from 0 to 1, and you might be spending, if you happen to receive a decentralized infrastructure for free, which what we offer OpenMesh, by the way, as an initiative, and we hope other providers like Aether and things like Akash might provide some decentralized compute in a really competitive price. So which means the end users benefits that. But at the moment, we are not putting the cost of the infrastructure. I didn't include the infrastructure cost here, by the way. So I'm just doing apple to apple comparison. So I'm $30,000, by the way, for all these setup here, and then go from 0 to 1. So in that context, that $100 is basically this is going to a gas fee on Ethereum network to deploy these services. In the future, we are looking at working with like chains like BNB, chains like Base, potentially to bring that cost down to under $1. So if you deploy something in this particular functions, the gas fee to execute that will be in pennies. So imagine the power there. It's very, very useful. So what does tomorrow look like? So you control your AI, you control your data, you have your bank, because when you have these ERC standard, you have the wallet for yourself. So that is your bank account, right? So when you offer this AI service, AI agent to anyone in the world, you don't know the end user because there's no KYC. End user can subscribe to your AI services, and the payments can come directly to your wallet. And if you want to control your IP, let's say you don't want to keep it open, you want to keep it, let's say, private and proprietary, that's fine. Wrap it in ERC particular standards, so people cannot see the code behind it. Since you control the infrastructure, you can actually block it, right? So, and the cool thing is, if you provide these kind of services, and if you have the decentralized infrastructure, if your AI model, AI agent, AI services, and then the hosting service for providing this, the AI services, if you host that on decentralized networks like OpenMesh, if you host that in a decentralized networks like IPFS and Aave type of networks, no one can shut down. So you, as a user, you can deploy a next AI company from your bedroom, spending like $1 or $2, and it doesn't have to be in a privileged country. You can go from 0 to 1, even if you're in Iran or maybe North Korea. North Korea is a bad example, but for the purpose of treating everybody equal. So that's the opportunity. That's the power. And no one can control that, right? So that's very interesting. So I also want to give you something very, very important. That's what we are doing. And I think this has a profound impact, not just the AI space, I think for the entire AI industry. Now, I hope you remember one of the pillars that I mentioned about the competitiveness, attracting the best talent in the world, like X Prize, right? So in the coming days, we are going to have a competition in August. Now, before I get into that, let me explain the DeepSeek model. So DeepSeek, small group of people, maybe under 50 people, engineers, researchers, shareholders, and maybe the management. They built a powerful AI model, one model, single model. Now they are a very, very profitable company. all the profits that they generate, they spread across their shareholders and the team. Obviously, we don't know how much they're going to be splitting with the team. We don't know how much the shareholders earning. We have no idea, but it's a profitable company. Now, imagine like OpenxAI, we are not thinking about one model. We are thinking of hundreds of models, and not just thinking of one person or two people or two researchers. We're looking at anyone can contribute, anyone can access these models and services and knowledge. So imagine if you run specific type of controlled, I would say, controlled innovation. So what would happen? So this is what we are working on at the moment. So here, if you go to the milestones, and I think this is where I personally really excited about. So here's one of the milestone. It's called the first OpenxAI competition, right? So this particular competition, out of 500,000 or 500K we raise, 50,000 of stable coins and Ethereum will be allocated. It also has a substantial amount of OpenxAI token. So depending on OpenxAI token price, so this prize pool will have a decent amount of value. So which means depending on if this pool turn out to be 500,000 or 1 million, whatever it is, this competition might be a really cool thing for the community. A lot of AI people will be excited to participate. So we have this. So currently we have specific themes, but community can decide what themes they want to push, whether they want to build another foundational model or they want to focusing on improving an existing model, whatever it is, right? The competition is set. And the deadline is August. Now, the idea here, you have a big prize pool, you have a hyper competitive environment, and what will happen, the winner, the winning solutions, maybe 2 or 3, will go through a community peer review. Because in here, they probably done this internally, but we don't know. But in this particular case, the community does the peer review. And then once the QC or quality control, QA, quality assurance is being done by the community, and the community will vote, and this particular AI a model will be named. Obviously, whoever the team's working on it will have the right or they have the flexibility and freedom, right? So that particular service will be hosted, will be listed here on our App Store. So in this App Store, so instead of having DeepSeek, let's say the first winning solution will be listed here. So then it's no longer AI services built by corporations or small team. It's basically built by community. And what community can do, they can stake tokens to showcase your confidence and the passion or signal everybody that you like this particular model created by, let's assume this is, instead of DeepSeek, this is the winning out of the competition. This is the first winner, and created by, let's say, 200 contributors. Now, other people who haven't participated in this competition, or people who participate in the competition, they can stake tokens to signal this is what they chose, right? So now you have an AI model created by community, managed by community, and then the resources for this particular infrastructure will be run by specific nodes that running, and all these running nodes costs will be managed by the stake tokens. Now, all of a sudden, you have a community funded, community managed, community invented AI service available in this App Store. Now, then these AI services will have a specific landing page, will have a specific its own channel to attract users. So let's assume when you click on a website, it goes to a specific website and say, hey, this is our the service, and these are the pricing models and etc. And obviously we prefer people use like Web3 technologies to collect payments. Now, when this AI model generating revenue, we hope that will generate revenue, and we can certainly encourage community to provide a lot of resources for free, right? So, but whatever the community decide, obviously I cannot decide what it is, the community will decide. And the revenue that generate from the AI model will be the revenue will be shared among the stakers. So it's all of a sudden now is very interesting, because it's a AI as a service, go through the App Store, and then community build AI, right? So now all of a sudden, you have many models, and the profits, it's shared among token holders and creators. That's very, very interesting. All right, so I've got only 2 slides to showcase quickly. So if you look at this particular slide, it's very interesting. I consider OpenAI like the ancient IBM, right? IBM as a corporation, they had computers only accessible by selected group of people, and it's everything kept in secret. And what DeepSeek did, they basically brought that kind of a compute power capabilities to everybody, right? So it's like a personal computer. So it's affordable, it's maybe small, it doesn't require a lot of resources and etc. OpenxAI goal is to bring that even to everybody. So that way you have individuals can be used the services. All right, so that's the keynote, and who we are, what is a protocol, protocols, specific pillars and innovation and the use cases. Now I'll pass it to John to do a product demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashton. That was a great presentation about OpenxAI. Introducing next is our DevRel John. He will present a demo on how to deploy with OpenxAI Studio. During the deployment, while we wait, we will have a chance to have Q&A. So if you have any questions, please just send them on the chat.
Hi guys, my name's Johnny. I'm a core contributor at OpenxAI. I'll be running a demo. Okay, so what I've done is I've loaded up studio.openxai.org, and we'll be running through the demo. Ashton's done a great job explaining how OpenxAI Studio fits into the big picture. What I'll be doing is just deploying a AI model on top of a app template that is running Olama and the Open Web UI front end, so we can actually chat to the LLM or the model that we deploy. And what that basically means is we're deploying our own self-contained application on our own bare metal server that only we can access. And it's very important that this technology of AI models that are open source is available to everyone in the world. That you don't need to spend thousands of dollars per month to deploy it. You don't need to have a technology degree to be able to deploy your own app. This makes it a solution that democratizes AI for everyone in the world to be able to deploy AI and have that power at their fingertips. So the models we support, again, 40 plus models with more to come in the next couple of weeks. All of these are the top quality open source models. You've probably heard of DeepSeek R1. So this is the model that was released about 6 weeks ago, and it was competitive with OpenAI's models at the time. So It's an amazing small team that we're able to deliver an exciting project that could rival tens of billions of dollars investment over in the US. A small team of, like Ashton said, like 50 people, were able to do that on a shoestring budget. I think it was under 10 million. So yeah, let's deploy that. And what we're going to do is deploy it to one of our pre-deployed servers. So I'll explain what that is. But basically, we're choosing a lower spec model, and that will be able to be deployed on the demo pool of servers we've set up for Genesis. Basically, you can purchase your own servers off bare metal providers and then deploy larger parameter models and other models on top of them as well. Right now, you can select the several specs, but basically you can see here which ones are available. So you just scroll through. I'm not deploying this huge parameter model, so I'll be deploying this one for the demo. And then we can select the provider. So again, we're using the Xnode demo pool that we've set up for you. You can, in the near future, specify an API key, and what that does, it allows you to deploy to any other bare metal provider as well. So let's select the Xnode demo pool. And as Ashton said, there's different business models you can deploy that are Web3 enabled using Ethereum smart contract standards. Things like the NFT ERC721 standard, where you need the NFT in your Web3 wallet to be able to administrate that app that you deploy. You can also, because that NFT essentially wraps that server deployment and website as a business wrapped in an NFT, it means that you can do cool things like sell and trade that whole business on public Ethereum marketplaces like OpenxAI. So really exciting different business models that are enabled with Web3. So I'll hit deploy now, and then I'll go through the deployment page just to show you what that looks like. So we'll just wait for this. You can see here there's a status on the right, and basically it's preparing the, let me just click that. Yep. You can see on the right, it's deploying the model now. So what that's doing is actually using Xnode OS, installing that on a bare metal machine. It's then installing the Llama backend, which then we are sending the 1.5 billion parameter DeepSeek R1 model to, and configuring that for you. And then once that's finished, basically we'll be clicking this link and logging in with these credentials. These are the 3 demo servers I was talking about. So basically, we've set up and pre-deployed 3 servers in a pool. If the first one's unavailable, the second one will be available for you to deploy to, and same for the third one. So that means that anyone here can actually play with the product, deploy different AI models, and then chat to it. And I'll demo chatting to it as well. While we wait for that, so it's still preparing, I just wanted to quickly load the resources page. So here you can see that there's between 32 providers all around the world that we're able to aggregate. So they're available for you in a Skyscanner style interface to deploy to. Basically, we're not restricting ourselves to the main big 3 data centers from cloud providers. We're supporting all those bare metal providers all around the world. And I'll show you when you click these, it actually shows you all the different companies that have bare metal provider data centers all around the world in different cities. So it doesn't matter where you go, there's a good spread of bare metal providers And what we're doing here is we're decentralizing, compute, storage, bandwidth all around the world. So when you deploy your application, it's not censorable. It's not able to be turned off by, the big three, Azure, AWS, and Google. It's essentially decentralized across all these bare metal providers all around the world. And you can see there's quite a lot of resources available. You can scroll through and look at the actual service that we can deploy to. So yeah, let's get back to deployments. That should be ready soon. What I'll do, I'll just wait for that to be ready, and we'll hand over to Q&A. So I'll just hand that over now, and we can do some Q&A, and we'll wait for this to deploy. Should be between 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, thanks, John. So Ashton, we just have a few questions on the chat. So the first one, has OpenxAI formed any partnerships with other blockchain projects or major institutions? Sorry, guys, he just dropped out. We'll just wait for him to reconnect. Okay, guys, so he hasn't been able to connect yet. So what we'll do is we'll just introduce some of the team and our ambassadors. So I'll start. My name is Sheila. I'm from Melbourne, Australia, and I'm part of the OpenxAI marketing team. I'm in marketing, working with our social media team and on our campaigns and our partnerships. I'm thrilled to contribute to OpenxAI, helping to create a freely accessible, permissionless AI ecosystem for everyone. Okay, so let's add the next person. John, you go.
Yeah, it's Johnny here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so as discussed, I'm a core contributor working on the OpenxAI products. I've basically been in the Web3 space for about 5 years, and I've also been in AI space for about 3 years. So very interested in the intersection between those two fields, and especially really keen to push forward the open source movement behind AI so that everyone can access it across the world. I also help at OpenxAI do some of the technical posts and reach out and host an upcoming hackathon. So stay tuned and follow me on socials for any announcements regarding hackathons, and especially what we'll be doing is working with the OpenxAI platform on deploying different applications that you want to do. You could be hooking up the AI server and LLM model to a game front end, for example, and having AI battle it out. You could be, setting up a website where you can edit blog posts or documents and then use AI to help write and publish that automatically through an agent. So there's lots of opportunities for cool things to be built in hackathons, and I look forward to helping set those hackathons up and push it forward. I'll hand over to the next person. Thanks.
Can you hear me? Yep.
Yes.
Hey guys, I'm Ardi. I'm from Indonesia. I work in OpenxAI as the head of operations. So I am coordinating and helping with day-to-day operations. So I was in Web3 spaces for almost 7 years, and my previous experience is working in a VC. So what I'm excited about the AI is right now those AIs are being developed by multi-billions company, right? I'm so excited about how to see when the AI models are being accessible to almost all of the people in this world. Yep, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so this is a very short elevator pitch about myself and OpenxAI. I'm Melody from Nigeria. I've been in the Web3 space for about 2 years. And so folks call me Milestone, and I am an OpenxAI ambassador. And I hope the community is enjoying the OpenxAI Genesis event. And so one of the reasons why I love OpenxAI is because, put simply, AI is in the hands of everyone. AI is not just controlled by the corporate gatekeepers who are at Silicon Valley. We would not like to mention names. We know those big dogs at Silicon Valley. There is not going to be any more restrictions on AI. Basically, OpenxAI is going to give us permissionless AI. So let us kind of look at OpenxAI as a way to democratize AI access, which means in effect that AI is for the people and by the people. So yeah, this is just a very short elevator pitch about myself and OpenxAI, and I really hope we enjoy this Genesis event. Thank you.
Hey, hello guys. My name is Paulus from Lithuania. I'm OpenxAI ambassador. And yeah, I think you heard the saying, "Not your keys, not your house." So it's very suits OpenxAI model, and especially it's very important in crypto. So just having your wallet and your computer, you basically could create your AI business, and that's really amazed the idea of deepin. So I think it's really revolutionized the space and really bullish. So thanks and see you in the chats, guys.
GM everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. My name is Austin and I am an OpenAI ambassador from Nigeria. I have been working with open source projects for a while, working with Ubuntu as a contributor, and from there, my experience there has shown me how important an open source infrastructure is to development. And I'm excited to be working here in OpenxAI as an ambassador, because what we are doing is taking the power from centralized bodies and giving it to everyone. And you have the ability to for your contributions to matter in the grand scheme of things. And I'm excited to be part of this journey because I believe in the power of decentralization and permissionless AI. And for too long, like Ashton said earlier, AI has been controlled by just a few people, and that has been limiting innovations and accessibility, especially for people in countries where these AI applications are not permitted. Now we are changing that with OpenxAI by putting power into everyone's hands, no matter where you stay and which region you access the internet from. So as an ambassador, I'm excited to help build a future where AI is open, where AI is transparent, and where AI can be owned and controlled by you, the user. So thanks for joining this Genesis event, and I'm so excited to be here.
All right, guys. The demo's loaded. It loaded like 5 minutes ago. Basically, you can see here, there's my browser. It's created a temporary link. I just go back a page, get the username and login. And let's do that. And paste in the username password. Okay, great. It's logged in. So let me just zoom out again. So this is basically Open Web UI. And we've just deployed essentially like a chat GPT front end to the AI model that's running on our server, that's bare metal, with a llama in the background. So what that does is that's an app template for you to chat to your LLM model that you deployed. Like I said, there's going to be a whole heap of different app templates that you can do. So let's ask a question. Let's talk about tell me about the Web3 movement or infrastructure. Pretty boring question, but while we wait, that's DeepSeek R1 1.5 billion parameter model. Thinking about that, that's running on our bare metal server. And like I said, we've deployed 3 servers in a demo pool. We can run a lot more faster servers and open that up over the next couple of weeks, so you guys can deploy hundreds of different models. So there you go. That's the answer. I should have said DeepSeek's a reasoning model, so it does think in the background for a short time before it answers. So that's what it was doing. It's had to think about it, and now it's given us the answer to the question. Another important thing is this is, like I said, completely contained to the bare metal server that you just deployed. So no other person has access to the data that's inside that box. And what that means is, there's no one that can monitor the chat messages or the responses that you put into it. If you were to upload documents, which we can do, you can actually you can basically upload a PDF and then talk to that. It will give answers based on that PDF. But also the key thing is that's a self-contained server. So no one gets access to your PDF document that you upload and chat to. So it's completely self-contained, completely secure. No one else has access to it. So that's a very important point, especially when you're talking about a lot of the other AI chatbots that you might upload your sensitive company data to. That's hosted by Azure, by Microsoft. That could be a competitor. Then a lot of that traffic could be monitored as well. whereas this is completely secure and self-contained on your own server. There's no other software running on that server. It's not shared with anyone else. So yeah, very, very secure way to deploy it. And obviously it's on bare metal. So what that means is typically it's 80 to 90% cheaper than, say, hosting on AWS or Google or Azure, because it is bare metal. There's no big company with all their overhead to support. It's literally as close to wholesale prices as you can get. Okay, that concludes the demo. I'll hand back. I think Ashton's going to come back on again and we can do some Q&A. Handing over now.
All right, thank you, John. I also want to give you guys some updates with the Genesis, specifically what we have achieved and the fundraise and when the token launch is going to happen. So let me share my screen. All right. So Genesis to us is basically consists of multiple things. So here are the things that we achieved. So if you want to verify what we promised to the community, you can go into OpenxAI and you go to Genesis right here and go to projects. You will be able to see Genesis XAI. So this is when you click on it, this is the scope of work. So for the last couple of weeks, we've been working pretty much around the clock, including weekends, 16 to 18 hours, from engineers to community managers to anyone in between. We worked so hard to achieve these milestones. So we developed the smart contract for the fundraise, specifically for milestone-based fair launch. So that's being audited, is all ready. All the wallet infrastructure, that's also achieved in the last 2 weeks. So that's all good. You guys saw the Xnode Studio. So AI model execution, compute resource management, analytics, and dashboard, that all is ready. We also managed to list around 40 plus different AI models. Now you can all aggregate, and we aggregate all the AI models. Now you can go and test and deploy. So there's no censorship resistance there, so you can deploy and experiment. We also developed a public-facing dashboard. So this is really helpful for a lot of people. Even non-technical people will be able to understand. So here we have a lot of on-chain metrics, talk about the token listing price, the market cap based on the fully diluted value, the listing price of the market cap, which is a circulation supply times the token, and the soft cap. And we also introducing staking. This is staking rewards. So protocol metrics, specifically how many AI models have hosted so far, and how many compute power, and these are metrics that builders and people who care about. I pay attention to the censorship resistance. That's really high, which is really good. And still we do have some improvements to make. Obviously, there are a lot of, I would say, centralized checkpoints or choke points that we need to improve. The goal by this year, end of this year, to reach this maybe 90, 95%, 96%. And our DAO, we have 21 proposals, which is really cool. For AI infrastructure specifically, these are specific metrics that we measure to determine the permissionless characteristics and also decentralization as a philosophy. So we achieve a really good ratings, and of course we welcome community to challenge these values. We are welcome to hear your feedback. So these metrics will be published on our documentation page. You'll be able to evaluate what each specific metrics means. But for us, it's very important to to have these metrics, these are the I would say the standards when you're building a decentralized permissionless AI protocol. Here you can find, I think you've seen all of this. This section is the decentralized infrastructure section. And if you want to know where the token is going to be split across which division, what purposes, all of that information display here. The vesting schedules available here, so you can see where how the tokens will be distributed. The claim page allow backers to claim, staking page for people to stake, earn page, similar like Zelay, similar like all these gamify ecosystem to support our really active community members to be participating and supporting our vision. The governance is going to go live after the token sale and TGE. These are the list of projects. So far we achieved 95% of what we promised to the community that we'll be doing for the Genesis. So we are very excited, happy, and also we are very, I would say, grateful for our community and our team. We worked really hard, we worked together, so that's really good. We've got lots of things to do, and this is where we wanted to work with our community to get support and encouragements. So in terms of coming up, we have community fundraise happening in 10th of April, and the 12th of April will be TGE. Some of you expected probably to happen the community fundraise like today. However, we decided to push back the community fundraise due to the market conditions, and also a lot of ecosystem partners suggested they don't have enough time to work with us, right? So we would rather do a successful launch compared to do something launched, right now. I was speaking to some members, ASI, which is one of the largest, I would say, decentralized AI ecosystem in the world, can be combined of 3 entities together: OpenOcean Protocol, SingleTernet, and FetchAI. They are the well-respected AI ecosystems in the world, and they recently launched their own language model, and they started talking about positively. I mean, this is big news, right? So they started sharing that news across all media, everywhere. It's a big deal. Imagine building a decentralized version of ChatGPT type of model, but community acted very negative towards it. So we're talking about having a decentralized large language model, right, developed by well-respected people, but community reacted very. People didn't even notice. And beyond the AI space, if you go to Bitcoin network, I mean, we had one of the greatest, the best news that everyone hoped for, having a leadership, but also U.S. government announcing the strategic Bitcoin reserve. You guys can see how people reacted, right? So other than the sell the news kind of event, there's just not much excitement. I think everybody just a bit worry about the tariff war and geopolitical situation. So this is very important for us to make sure we have a good launch and a good success. That's why we pushed. And these partners that we're going to be working with, so NVIDIA will be working with them as part of Inception program. So we are already part of NVIDIA at OpenMesh in order to aggregate the cheaper GPUs and deliver that to the end user will be something that we'll be working on. We are in discussion with Base and BNB chain. Like I mentioned before, right now deploying these AI agents, AI models on Ethereum can be expensive. Deploying Base and BNB chain can be quite cheap. And then OpenSea is something that we wanted to work with very closely, where instead of having all these memes, or instead of having all these images and maybe all these NFTs, people can list AI agents, AI models, and etc. And the other update, we have this campaign where we're looking for really solid developers across different departments. So we run this campaign, 30 developers in 30 days. We are actively looking for people to support our mission and our vision. So you can go to OpenxAI and click on the community. So this is a community portal. When you click on the 30 devs in 30 days, there's a bunch of roles available. Please take a look at it, because we need support. We need great, passionate individuals and people to support our protocol and our vision. I think that's the most important thing to focus on in the next coming days. So there are multiple verticals of different initiatives that we have. Go to our social media, go to our Twitter, you'll be able to find a lot of information. So thank you very much, everyone. So here's my Telegram. So if you guys want to reach out to me, we'll give you another update. We try to keep it updates regular, maybe not this long, maybe 45 minutes to an hour every week as a progress update. So we thank you for tuning in, and also the team to coordinate everything. We started coordinating yesterday, Sunday actually. So thank you very much, everyone. So if you have any questions, now we enable questions. So and then we'll answer any questions you have. Thank you. All right, so the question is, has OpenxAI formed any partnership with any other blockchain projects or major institutions? I think I just mentioned that, so I covered that. What is the OpenxAI strategy for increasing adoption among developers and businesses? Look, I think it's all come down to having a 10x innovation or 100x innovation, right? So it's all come down to product, user experience, breakthroughs. That's what we are focusing on. Marketing, building stories around it will come after. We want to build a great technology, and having a really great breakthrough. That's what we are focusing on, because ultimately the developers want to save their time, energy. They want more efficient, more better tool for their mind, for their visions. So that's what we're trying to deliver. And I think what we will adopt, what we will probably see influx of a lot of developers coming from regions that they don't have access to, right? I think, again, I could be wrong, right? So people from Africa, people from Asia, people from South America, Middle East, underprivileged nations and cities and regions, people will come to our protocol. I think that's where we see some traction, because they don't have any other choice, right? And the other side, I think, like businesses, I think when the project has AI as a service, maybe businesses will use it. But for the time being, we are not like a SaaS company. We provide the services to businesses. So our focus is developers and founders and innovators. Yep, it's all on our roadmap. We're aiming Q3 to launch the marketplace. That's a great question. So we will be working in the future middleware as an API kind of a gateway. You have to think carefully, because if you use like a proprietary or centralized API, then our value proposition probably go out of the window. So it's require a lot of careful thinking, and it's require a lot of resources as well, like talent and also capital to build. The API itself, I would consider like to manage your specific infrastructure through API, which means you can have you can integrate with additional layers of services, and you can integrate. So let's call it interoperability and composability. In order to do that, we need to create some level of a middleware / SDK. So we'll be working for developers. If you're speaking of the APIs for the users who wants to access the large language models or open source models, so that's up to the user, right? So the user can create those things on top, and the user can manage the API. So example of which I gave you, if I create Australian university service, like a large language model that trained for Australian universities, I can create sort of an API layer on top of my model. So I can do that, and it's up to the user. But from the protocol level, from OpenxAI, middleware and APIs for developers to manage the services and configuration and the actual infrastructure management from an API, that's on the roadmap, but it will take time. I've covered this a lot. At a high level, I think you have to understand what decentralized AI projects, right? So, I mean, having a tag of decentralized AI doesn't mean anything to me. So, the way I define decentralized AI is it should start from all the way from the bottom up. So, as long as you have a decentralized infrastructure that not deployed into centralized cloud providers, that's very important. And you got to have a governance mechanism and some sort of a structure that not controlled by a few group of people, right? So centralized choke points have to be somewhat eliminated, 90% or more. You can't achieve decentralization 100%. That's the ideological view and a philosophy. But as a founders, as developers and innovators, I think we could just push that decentralization as much we can. For us, the way I define decentralization or decentralized AI is having a really good decentralized governance mechanism where people can decide what is good and bad and then you let people question. So it's not a one person deciding. And then second is your infrastructure. Infrastructure also have to be decentralized, right? So if you're deploying into their private cloud or their own particular infrastructure, that's centralized. And then the other aspect itself, the models that you're hosting has to be hosted in a decentralized infrastructure. And not only to be able to deploy and train and run your AI models, but these AI models also hosted on a decentralized infrastructure, right? And then on top of all of that, the decentralized services or AI services should be accessible by anybody, which means if you go to some decentralized AI projects, in order to access the service, you have to register with the email, and that's a KYC, right? So decentralized AI for me, there's no KYC, right? So there's no KYC, there's no registration. It's a completely decentralized Web3 experience. Your email, your KYC in our world is a wallet. That's it. You respect the privacy. So that's how I define. So depending on what decentralized AI project that you're comparing, there's no one fit for all kind of a model. For us, it's very important having the governance infrastructure and accessibility. That's why I call it, our protocol is permissionless AI protocol rather than decentralized AI. Any other questions? I think I just described that. Yeah, I covered that. Yeah, it's a good question. So access to models like that, it's all come down to the end user. So if end user, I think John already gave a demo, right? So you have the front end when you deploy your AI in an infrastructure that you control. So right now we do, let's say we provide a temporary infrastructure, but when you deploy into infrastructure that you control, that you own, that AI, the model will have a open web UI. Through that you can access the actual model, so you can interact with it. You don't need any technical setup for that. So you deploy your AI model, you'll have a front end, you'll have a specific URL or IP address that you can access your AI model. On the browser, you can just upload your documents, you can start training it, you can do all sorts of things on your browser straight away. So you don't need any other tool or other integrations.
So yeah, on the App Store, we do support deploying Qwen 2.5, Qwen 2.5 Coda, and then Code Qwen as well. And we'll keep supporting newer models released from Qwen.
Yeah, just go to our App Store. You'll be able to see all the models that we support.
I think that was the last question. So.
Okay, cool. All right, so thank you, everyone. Thank you for the team. We'll stay tuned for more updates. Check our Medium social media for more updates, and we will host another live stream or AMA within another 7 days. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.